Hello, good evening to you all.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
sir.
नमस्कार सर।
Namaskar. Bharati
आज्ञा
from Bhoyar.
आज्ञा
Kout koujo?
ମୁଁ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱରରୁ।
Acha, acha.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
Oh, ठीक ଅଛି.
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, thank you. No worries. Good evening, Shubhasri Giri. The teacher. Any of you have you gone through the module MES-16? No. Any of you? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you gone through your module MES-16?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes,
Educational
sir.
research.
What is the title of MES-16?
Educational
Education research.
Educational research. How many modules, how many blocks are there?
6 blocks.
High blocks.
Five blocks.
High blocks.
Yes, sir.
Block 1 is about
Perspective of knowledge.
perspective of knowledge in education. Second block is about different types of
Type of
studies in
studies in educational research.
research. Third is
Educational
research
research.
design. Fourth block is analysis and analysis of data and its interpretation. And last is how to write a report writing. So this is all about the gamut of your education research. This is all about related to the very fabric of education research. Just I am making a very chit chat. Let others come so that we can make detailed discussion. This is for a quite rudimentary discussion. So unless you go through the because this is something technical, so therefore you must go through as and when you find time, you should go through it so that you can appear the tournament examination December 2025 easily, no problem. How many of you are working as teachers? Are working? No pressure. All are pressure, or some of you are working?
Some are working.
Working. Because it is from 5 to 7. If you are working, then you will be returning by 4:30, something like that. So it will be bit difficult for you. Not difficult, but you have to make a mindset.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now the time is 5:05. Should we start this session?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
welcome you all to the welcome. I welcome you all to the evening session. Before me,
Thank you, sir.
my student, Dr. Bhuvenswari Mishra. She was my student. She had talked to you for the last 4 days about nature of education, something like that. Uh,
Yes,
can you
sir.
tell me what is the basic purpose? She might have told you. Also, you have from your background. What is the basic purpose of education? Any of you, anyone, your understanding of education. Okay. Somebody has said, I will not tell the name, later on I will tell you. Education is not filling the pail, but lighting the fire. Education is not filling the pail, 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 but lighting the fire. That means through education we can ignite, we can inspire, we can encourage, we can enable student to encounter the challenges of life. So a fused mind, a mind which can enable the child, enable the individual to make, to confront all the situations of life. So therefore, it is well said that any kind of investment is in education, any kind of spending money on education is a kind of wise investment. So education is a investment in human or human capital. Now why? If the human beings of a particular society are capitalized, if the human beings of a particular society are enlarged, having a different imagination, then that society can make progress. Every society has problem of one kind or the other. For example, Pakistan has a problem, maybe economic problem. India has a problem, but not necessarily economic, maybe political problem. America has a problem, Ukraine has a problem. Every country has its own problem. The problems range from social, economic, political, financial, like that. Now the question is, should we allow the problems to continue? The answer is definitely not. No, 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 no. The problem should be solved. So how? If the problems need to be solved, then how? The answer is through the use of mind, by capitalizing, by manipulating, by making use of the mind. God has given mind to the human beings, also to the animals, but the mind of the human being is quite something enlarged. It's something more scientific, not rudimentary. So therefore, by using the mind, the human being can make use of, can solve the problems of a particular society. Now that way, when the generation is engaged in solving the problem of a particular contemporary society, then problem is solved. If solved, and that adds to a new kind of knowledge. Am I understandable? Okay.
Yes, sir.
For example, let you think, let us think, why you, also myself, let us think the year 2019. This is the remarkable year for we all people in universe, not only Indians, but also all over the universe. Why? 2019, what has happened? Corona.
Because
Corona.
Corona. Sir, 2020. At
Now,
2020.
29, 20. So therefore, Corona 19, we call it Corona 19.
हाँ,
Now,
2019.
huh, in the beginning part, the scientists forget about we people laymen. We people we laymen. The scientists, the biologists, the medical practitioners, they were very helpless. They declare that it cannot be cured. It is incurable. It is not curable. Then after some days, those people again, the biological school of biological society, they have declared yes. Now corona can be. Suchishri, are you telling something? Suchi.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Oh. So therefore now the scientists, the medical practitioners, they declare that yes, corona can be cured. Medicines have been, now we have different vaccination, something like that. The procedure, medicines are there. How was it? How is it possible? It is because of. Can you tell me how is it possible? Earlier they were declaring that no, it is not.
Vaccination.
Huh?
Vaccination.
Through research by
No research.
conducting research, searching again and again, and making inquiry. What can be done? How can we solve the problem? The problem is corona. Many people have lost their lives. It is a very dangerous thing. So therefore, how can it be cured? Now, after doing research, much rigorous attempts have been made through the research. Similarly, the situation in the beginning part, I'm not in the beginning part of cancer. It was a new disease. Cancer was a new disease. So the practitioners, the medical practitioners, they declare, no, it is not possible to cure cancer. Then through the process of research, it is curable. Now, it is somehow we can, and for example, one of the leading figures in the field of cancer is from Odisha. Can anyone tell me Professor R.K. Ponda, Ramakrishna Ponda? Now, Ponda Clinic is there in Bhubaneswar. He is a very eminent personality in the field of cancer. Anyhow, like that. That means whenever any society, my point of view is, whenever any society encounters with any kind of problem, that problem could be solved by making use of the mind, by using mind to go on and making inquiry, non-stop inquiry, ceaseless, we call it ceaseless, non-stop, ceaseless inquiry till the problem gets solved. So this is the attempt that the individual can make. This is the endeavor we can make. And the name is give it, what is the name? That is research. Is it clear? Now, maybe fundamental research, maybe that is basic research, fundamental research, or the other name is basic research, or the applied research. We are finding something through research. Those findings are used in the day-to-day situations or in the classroom situation. For example, when you are using the different findings of research for the solution of the classroom situation, classroom problems, that is known as action research. Stephen M. Covey was the father of that action research. Anyhow, immediately you want, for example, you want to know how many students are intelligent, how many students are dull, how many students are genius. On the basis of your NPC principle. What is NPC? Normal probability curve. NPC. We can safely say, because we take a recourse to that formula, NPC, if the things are normal, then 68.2%, 26%, that means about 70%. 68, this is exactly 68.26% students are of average category. Neither they are too dull, nor do they are too intelligent, genius, meritorious. They belong to average or middle category, average category. Then the rest, if it is 70%, then 30%, 15% are dull, and 15% are genius, like I, something like that. Darwin, Einstein. So this is the curve. Now you are applying those principles to understand the nature of classroom situation. Though because the classroom is a diverse situation, diversity, boys, girls. For example, if it is a co-education, different categories: SC, ST, OBC, general, poor students, rich students, students having parents, students having no parents, or students having parent, no parent, having mother, having no mother, belong to poor socioeconomic background, like that. So having also multilingual, for example, you are a student, you know 3 languages. I am a student, I know only 1 language. You are a student, you know only tribal language. For example, all Chiki in Moirubant, Santali, all Chiki. You are a tribal, for example, if the child is a tribal language, tribal student, he know all Chiki. Like that. This is a situation for a teacher. But teacher is one. Students are many. So how can you say no, there are many students, a variety of students, very graded. No, you have to understand them by using the principles of psychology. So therefore, there are individual different. For example, one of the basic principles, one of the basic premises is that individuals do differ. Individual difference is a fact. You are a student, I am a student, but we are not same. No two students are alike, either intellectually, physically, something like this, mentally, something like that. So therefore, if you have gone through the National Curriculum Framework 2005, it has well been said that difference is a fact. Let us celebrate it. Don't neglect it. Celebrate. Yes, it is a reality of life. Don't withdraw yourself. Yes, what you can do in that situation. Yes, I have a variety of students. I have to meet all the categories of students so that the problem could be solved and classroom practices could be smoothened, can be smoothed, like that. Anyhow, we will not go to that part. Anyhow, so therefore, research is essential for not only for mankind but also for society. Why? Through research, we can generate knowledge. Research is not for the knowledge is not generated for improving, for augmenting new knowledge. Also, by making use of new knowledge, if new knowledge is helping you to solve the problem, then that is also another. So, two purposes are there for your knowledge generation. Through research, we try to generate knowledge. When you declare not only knowledge, new knowledge. Now here, can any one of you tell me why do we call it a new knowledge? That means that knowledge was not earlier. Now here, the knowledge could be called as new if the old knowledge is redefined, revitalized, revisualized, taken a new name, that is new. Another way is when somebody has developed a new theory, that theory was not there. That is totally original. So two concepts. One is old form of knowledge. If it is obsolete, not working in the present context, present scenario, that needs to be changed. Therefore, through research. This is one. Another is whenever you are doing something research, total new theory comes. For example, I do not know. You must have some idea about intelligence. Intelligence has been conceptualized as a kind of mental ability. And what that ability do for you? Intelligence as an ability enables the individual to solve the problems of life, to make adjustment to different aspects of life. As an ability, intelligence enables the individual to memorize the facts. For example, sometimes as the teacher, we have no time. Within a twinkle of eyes, you want to know who is intelligent. So therefore, this is the formula I used. Only one sentence. Aru varapano, saru varapano. If you can ask the student, you tell alu barapon, saru barapon 10 times, quickly. Those who are intelligent, they can do this. You can practice also. Anyhow, so therefore, there are different theories of intelligence. You take the case of your Professor Guilford. He has advocated structure of intellect, SOI, structure of intelligence. He says through his theory, because he has made, how did he develop the theory of intelligence? By using the factor and mathematical concept, factor analysis. One is vector analysis, another is factor analysis. How less factors are attributing to the theory, so that we can say intelligence. So he said that there are three components to declare that somebody is intelligent or not intelligent. So therefore, structure of intelligence is operation, content, process. Operation, content, and product. Put together, that in the beginning, that gives 120. Pardon, Rashmita? Yes, so therefore, 120 abilities. Then it was again 140, 160, it goes on. Anyhow, now Gardner, you must have heard Gardner. He talks about multiple intelligence. Intelligence is not one ability. Gardner talks about 9 abilities. Maybe artistic, maybe mathematical, maybe hypothetical, something like that. Naturalistic. So now, how did they say? By developing a theory. That theory is developed by conducting research. You must have heard the name of Piaget. Piaget had developed a theory that is known as cognitive theory. That is theory of intelligence. How do the small children develop their intelligence, mental ability? Therefore, he has conducted longitudinal study, not cross-sectional. The same sample is studied time and again over 20 years, over 10 years, and conclusion drawn. Then generalization is drawn. Anyhow, so therefore, when that theory is developed, we call it a new knowledge. So old knowledge reformed, redefined, can become new knowledge. Or the knowledge was not there. You have conducted research and you have developed a theory, something like that, then that becomes new knowledge. Either. Now the problem is, why do we generate knowledge? The reason being is not to accumulate more and more knowledge, but to solve the problems of the society. So therefore, providing solution to the different areas of knowledge, the different areas of field. So we are making use like that. So this is what we are doing research. When you are doing research, how can you do it? Because this is scientific. It is scientific procedure. So therefore, you have to make use of different methods of study, different methods of research. For example, maybe historical research, maybe philosophical research, maybe descriptive research, maybe correlation research, maybe your qualitative research, maybe evaluative research, maybe experimental research. Now the question is, you as a researcher, you ask yourself, these are the available research methods. Which method I should adopt? The answer is, what is your objective? What is your objective? For example, you will tell me, I am giving the hints, you will tell me. You want to know what was the system of education during the Tapshashila system, during the Gurukula ashram. Then what type of method you will follow? If your objective is to study what was the relationship between teacher and taught, student-teacher relationship, what methods were followed by the teachers in those days, during Gurukula ashram or in the Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya, what kind of administration was there? If this is your purpose, what type of research you will do? What is the method? Historical research. You are going towards the past. You want to study the past events. History talks about past events. So historical research. Sometimes you want to make some kind of things related to existence. For example, Jean-Paul Sartre, a philosopher of France, French philosopher. He said, existence precedes essence. Existence precedes essence. That means first we have to exist. Then you are a scientist, you are a good teacher. If I am not alive, there is no meaning that you are a good teacher. So first you live. Then let you be told as a good teacher. Let you be called as something like that. So eminence is later. First is your existence. So therefore, when somebody is interested to know the existentialistic perspective of the students in the present context, for example, philosophical issue, ontological components of life, existence, philosophical. If you want to know, for example, why whenever you go through the pages of Delhi newspaper, you find that rape, murder, crime, snatchery, robbery. Why? Means there is deterioration of values. Moral, there are different types of value. Moral value, spiritual value, knowledge value, hereditary value, there are different types of value. Why do these incidents happen in our Indian society? Definitely, there is erosion of values, there is loss of value, there is no values. Why? So if you are interested to know the value system of the present context, value system of the earlier one, what should be the value system for the present context, then philosophical, like that. Similarly, if you want to know the problems of teachers, maybe salary problem, maybe appointment recruitment problem, maybe promotional problem, maybe administrative problem, then descriptive research or survey research. If you want to know either any relationship between two variables, is intelligence related to achievement? Intelligence is one variable, achievement is another variable. Is intelligence related to creativity? Is creativity related to adjustment? Something like that. So correlation studies, you have to understand either any relationship between these two, you have to evaluate the situation. Anyhow, so like that. Similarly, for example, your son is not doing well in mathematics. How could you know? The mathematics teacher said, sir, your son has secured 9 marks out of 100 in the annual examination of class 8. So now it is a headache for you. Then what did you do? You are sending your child to the mathematics teacher, those who are good teacher in mathematics, coaching or tuition. For 6 months, you are paying the tuition fees and the son is attending the coaching classes. After 6 months, if you find that your son is improving, earlier he has secured 9 marks, now he has secured 30 marks, something like that. That means you can feel that yes, there is some effect of coaching. Because my son has been trained to coaching, he has attended the coaching classes, and the differences from 9 to 30, 21 mark differences, it is because of the effect of coaching classes. Therefore, you declare that attending coaching classes in mathematics has some positive impact on the achievement of my son. So if this is your interest, is there any impact of coaching on the achievement? Then definitely a kind of method that is known as experimental method. So I am giving some example so that you can get a clarification. So therefore, these are the different available methods which you can make use of according to your necessity, according to your purpose. Not all the methods. Nowadays, this is not for you. If you after this, if you do PhD something like that, one of the best books so far as research is concerned, Class-1. So he talks about mixed method, quantitative and qualitative, so that our generalizations, our conclusions could be more validated, could be more believable, like that. Anyhow, so therefore, a researcher has to make use of different types of methods according to the objective of the study. Is it clear? We'll discuss in detail. This is all about in the block 2 method of study. Then in block 3, whenever you are going to conduct a piece of research, you have to follow a particular method, particular design. So therefore, block 3 is all about design, research design. So whenever you are going to conduct your research, you have to decide the method, whether your mixed method, whether evaluative method, whether philosophical method, whether your experimental method, whether descriptive research, something like that. After the method is decided, then you can go for conducting research on whom? What is your unit of study? Whether on teachers, whether if the teacher, whether women teachers or male teachers or both, whether the students, whether the workers, whether the villagers, whether the CRC, whether the BRCs. That is what we call sample. So you have to decide your sample. This is another component of your design. So one is method, another is sample. Now sample is decided. From the sample you have to collect information, data. How? The kind of, now we have different tools and techniques. Tools and techniques. For example, questionnaire is a tool, interview is a technique, observation is a technique, your rating scale is a questionnaire, sorry, tool, your checklist is a tool. So either using tool or technique, you can collect relevant data. Now, after collecting data, you have to make analysis. You have to analyze them, or those data. Now, for making analysis of data, you have to make use of statistics. That we'll do later on. The fifth block, that is your fourth block, analysis of data. That is fourth block. That means how can you analyze the data? By making use of statistics. If you feel, of course, not that if you are not having mastery over, if you are not expert in statistics, you can use simple statistics like mean, median, mode, that is what we call central tendency, or measures of dispersion, or percentage, like that. So therefore, you should have minimum knowledge of statistics. That can help you to analyze. Now, we'll make a detailed analysis in that block when we'll discuss that block 4. Statistics, either the statistics can be your parametric statistics, can be non-parametric statistics, can be descriptive statistics, can be inferential statistics, descriptive, inferential, or parametric or non-parametric. So now we have to make use of, for example, we'll discuss in later on. So statistics will be used for making analysis, and after analysis, we can make interpretation. We can make interpretation. For example, you find from the percentage analysis that women teachers in comparison to male teachers or men teachers have more problems related to the education of the child. Or we can say when the students are taught, the female teachers are teaching, male teachers are teaching. But your study says, for example, I do not know, it's a hypothetical, your study says that women teachers, more number of women teachers, they say that it is very difficult to teach the students in comparison to male teachers. Then why? Question is, that is interpretation. Why do the male teachers don't find difficulty in teaching to the students? Why do the female teachers, women teachers? Then you have to interpret. How can you interpret? You can study the sample which you include in your study. Women teachers, what is their background? What is their profession? Besides the teaching, what other things they do? Like that. Then that can help you to explain the situation. Interpretation means you are explaining, you are discussing with certain logic. So this is your block 4, analysis and interpretation of data. Last block, the fifth block, block 5, that is all about the research report. Now data have been collected, data has been analyzed by using statistic, interpreted, and that will be given a shape, that we call research report. So research report. Before the research report, you have to prepare a research proposal. Now, for example, next year you will prepare your research proposal so that you can do your project and you can submit the project, and then the Bhaya will be there. Anyhow, so that block 5 talks about research report, how to write a research proposal, how to write a research report. Proposal means you are proposing. Once it is approved by the appropriate expert, then you can proceed. Then finally you can submit your proposal, submit your research report. That is what we call dissertation. Dissertation for PhD thesis, and like that. So this is in gist something about your paper MES-16. This is what we call in a gross view, or this is your global view of the paper MES-16. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
do you have your block 1 perspective knowledge with you? And did you keep that model with you? No.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. Book.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, this module has 4 units. We'll discuss. Come to unit 1, page 7. Now here, unit 1 is Introduction to Education Research. Already I have told you, I have briefed you, you have browsed upon that research is essential for solving the problems, generating new knowledge, isn't it? Then what do we mean by research? For example, one of the, because time is not there, one of the experts, More, M-O-R-E-Y, More, it is not in your book, I have collected. Stephen M. More, he says that research is a systematized effort to gain new knowledge. Knowledge is new, to gain new knowledge. But how? Making systematized effort. That means, as a researcher, you should not be haphazard. You must go up step by step. Therefore, a researcher makes use of scientific method. Step by step. For example, first step is you have to select a problem. Which problem? A problem which is difficult. You are feeling that this is a difficult problem, felt need. We'll discuss scientific procedure. So therefore, research is a systematized effort to gain new knowledge. That means the end product of research is generation of new knowledge. To generate new knowledge, the researcher must follow certain systematic steps, systematic procedures. For example, let me tell you, you have to collect data. Your interest is, you are interested to know what are the reasons for which most of the villagers, those who are members of the committee, education committee, they are not attending the meeting regularly. Now, to know that, you have prepared a questionnaire, for example. Now, when you have prepared the questionnaire and that questionnaire is given to those village community members, then they will say, no, 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 sir, we do not, we are illiterate, we cannot read, we cannot write. Then this is not the scientific way of collecting data. The best way of collecting data for them is interview. Verbal you can ask, sir, you can ask, my dear friend, last time you have been called to attend the meeting, you have been given the letter, but you have not come. No, sir, because I am a cultivator, I am a peasant, I have many work, something like that. But if the questionnaire is given, something is written, that man is unable to read, how can he respond? So therefore, this is not scientific. So better is you can give some kind of interview. Interview, you can make face-to-face interaction. Similarly, for example, I am blind, and if I have been told to read some paper, how can I read? So something, the story will be told by somebody, then I can listen, then I can reply. So therefore, research is very scientific. So the ultimate goal of research is generation new knowledge. But how? By making the systematic attempt. For example, let us see what your PM Cook says. Research is a process of arriving at dependable solution to problems through planned and systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of data. You are solving the problem. You will arrive at the solution. But how? For that purpose, you have to systematically collect data by using either tools or techniques. After collecting data, you have to analyze, make analysis, then interpret. So these are the three processes of research. One is data collection, data analysis, and data interpretation. That can help you to arrive at the solution of the problem. Similarly, John W. Best, he is one of the figures in research. He says about research, research is considered to be the more formal, systematic, intensive process of carrying on the scientific method of analysis. It involves a more systematic structure of investigation, usually resulting in some sort of formal record of process. Why it is formal? You have to maintain certain formality. For example, in order to collect data, I have to make use of questionnaire, not interview, or not a questionnaire, but interview. For the interview, these are the questions to be asked. Whether the questions are proper or not, you can consult the experts. For the analysis of data, this is the proper statistics. These are the formalities, procedures. So therefore, the researcher must know all these processes. Now, through research, we can generate new knowledge. Now, because it is there, I will not go in detail. For example, what is the region of generating knowledge? That one is knowledge is a wealth, a kind of wealth which can help you to solve your problems. This another reason for creating knowledge can be attributed to the problem solution. Another reason for the creation of knowledge is to make decisions in the professions. So, for this reason, the knowledge is to be generated. Now, what is that knowledge? What is that knowledge? Can anyone of you tell me what is your understanding knowledge? Anyone? Chandrasekhar or Suchistri? Anyone? Ranjan? Sweetie? For example, when the teacher asks, what is the formula of a square plus b square? Now the student say a square plus b square, a square plus b square plus 2ab. Now the child said, so then we can say, oh, you have knowledge of this. So what is knowledge? Ankita Mahapatra, join. That means what one knows. What Ankita, what is knowledge?
It is the collection of data set.
Chandrasekhar, for example, what is your father's name?
Know
Chandrasekhar.
something.
Ankita?
Subodh Kumar Pal, sir.
Knowledge is to know something. Knowledge comes from the word know, to know.
Acha, no. What one knows.
Sir, knowledge
हाँ,
So knowledge means to understand
Maybe, sir,
something.
acquiring of some knowledge skills.
अच्छा, ठीक है, okay. So there are many ways to look at. Simply we can say for the time being, we can say what one knows. What I know, you may not know. What you know, I may not know. You are for example, you are an agriculturist, but I am an educationist. So when he asks me,
Yes, sir.
do you know what type of paddy? Eta ki prakar dhano? No, I do not know. So I have no knowledge of paddy. You must have heard the story once in the two philosophers, learned people. They were crossing the river, and that philosophers, they are narrating about life, and they were telling that Mr. Navigator, sailor, do you know what life is? Something like that. He says, I am a navigator, I am good nauria. My profession is just to take you from this side to that side, and I earn money. I do not know life. Then the philosopher, the eminent people, they say, no, your life is gone. It is meaningless. You are a very gadha, boka, foolish. After some time, there was a storm. When there was a storm, now the boat was dwindling from here to there. Then the navigator said, the sailor said, Mr. Philosophers, now yes, do you know swimming? Now do not know. Now you get drowned, you die. I am foolish, but I am alive. But you are so learned, but you do not know swimming. Then you can die. How does your knowledge help you to save your life? You are very knowledgeable, but your knowledge has failed to save your life. But I am idiot. I am foolish. But I exist. I do not die. So therefore, question is, what you know, I may not know. What I know, you may not know. That doesn't matter. So this is what we call what one knows. That is personal knowledge. Personal knowledge. That personal knowledge is, unless it is validated, it is not genuine. It cannot be generalizable. So therefore, that knowledge is not important. But when the knowledge which you have gained after most scientific investigations, that is more valid knowledge. That is scientific knowledge, because on the basis of using scientific procedure, therefore knowledge is concerned with how we come to know what are our approved standards of competency in performance in inquiry. For example, standard is there. You know the mathematics, I know the mathematics. But in the examination, we are given 3 hours. 3 घंटा भितरे 5टी कि 10टी प्रश्न करो, उत्तर दियो. Now, you know the answer, but you could not. So, how 2 घंटा दिसम कोथा नहीं. Standard is within 3 hours, within 2 hours, you would answer. We want to see your intelligence. So therefore, knowledge is always connected with standard. Now, therefore, there are 3 types of knowledge here: rationalistic knowledge, empirical knowledge, pragmatic knowledge. For example, you can see, we call it tradition. Now, what is empirical tradition? Based on experience. Rationalistic means based on reason, and another is pragmatic, means on the basis of experience. Pragmatic means change on the basis of experimentation. Things go on changing. Through experimentation, you can understand. This is all about, that means personal knowledge or your scientific knowledge. And there are different types of knowledge which have been discussed. One type of knowledge in page 9. 1.3.2, declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge. What is that declarative knowledge? This knowledge refers to knowing about things or knowing what? Knowing what? That means what you know. For example, it is otherwise known as propositional knowledge. For example, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. 2 into 2 is equal to 4. Sun rises in the west. Is it correct?
No, sir. East.
No. The sun rises in the east. This is propositional knowledge. So therefore, we have been told. So we know The sun rises in the east, the sun sets in the west. 2 plus 2. Ice melts on heat. The sum total of three angles is 180. So this is what it has been declared like that. So another is functioning knowledge. The knowledge, the kind of what you know, if it helps you to perform. For example, have you any idea of 5B model? 5B, engage, one is engage, first is transfer, engage, then explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate, like that. You know all this.
Yes, sir.
But whenever you are going to classroom situation, for example, you are teaching class 7 students. If you are a teacher, science, you are teaching oxygen, for example, following 5 model. So you know, E means engage, E means this, second E means this, third E means this, this is explained. But when you are explaining, you are failing. You couldn't explain. That means you are not functioning. That means you are not performing. Because you declare, oh, this is mean this is mean this. You can declare, oh, I know. So therefore, functioning knowledge is concerned with how to do things. How to, for example, cycling, cooking. Cooking doesn't mean, for example, you can read a book on cooking. This plus this plus this plus this plus this is equal to curry. Is it curry? When you are going to cook, either you are doing all these. It is salty, the water is much, something like that. The curry is not tasty. So like that. So therefore, we can say, in other words, declarative knowledge, first type of knowledge, declarative knowledge, when put to use for solving the problem or for performing theory, best task becomes functional. That means you are putting the declarative knowledge into the practice. Then another procedural knowledge, that you are following certain procedure, step by step, one by one. That is skill based. So therefore, you can say procedural knowledge is based on performance of right action in the correct sequence. For example, I was talking about cycling. I was talking about teaching. You are teaching, I am teaching. But the students say, sir, that teacher is the best teacher. This teacher is not best. Why? You are following, I am following the book which you follow. But what is different? The difference is in the presentation. How do you appeal to your students? What kind of examples you have given to clarify their doubts? It is not in book. It is from experience. It is from your experience. So therefore, for a right action in a correct sequence. Sometimes my student, when I was the principal, sometimes the students, sir, when I was observing the class, sir, I have brought all the aids, but I have forgotten to tell the student, sir, forget about it. Because not, therefore, we can say correct sequence. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଶିବାଜୀ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଶିବାଜୀ ଚିତ୍ର ଦେଖିବା କଥା, କେତେ ମସିହା ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲେ ସେ ମସିହାଟା ଦେଖିବା ଟାଇମ ଲାଇନଟା ଯଦି ଦେଖିନା ପଛ ଦେଖା ପିଲାମାନେ ଆଣିଥିଲେ ଦେଖିବ ନାହିଁ. This is not a correct sequence. So therefore, performance in the right action in the correct sequence, if that is procedural knowledge. Then conditional, another type of knowledge is conditional knowledge. That means, what is condition? Conditional knowledge, which is a combination of both procedural and higher level of declaration. It informs us what one should do under given circumstances, why and under what conditions should do this. For example, 2 days back or 3 days back, one of the engineering students or something like that, he got drowned. Other friends were there. So you must know what is the condition. Is it possible on my part to help him to save his life? Is there any kind of current? So when the conditions you know, then you can use to solve the problem. That becomes your conditional knowledge. So these are the different types of knowledge. Is it okay? Yes or no? Is there any
Yes,
problem?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your yes means I will progress. Otherwise, if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask me, so that I will try my best to clarify you. Then
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
these are the
Okay, sir.
different types of. These are the Arpita, any problem?
No, sir.
Uh, these are different types of. By this time, I have told you the basic purpose of research is to generate knowledge. Knowledge is a kind of knowledge is what one knows. Knowledge can help us to solve the problem. There are different types of knowledge. Now the question is, what are the sources from which we can get knowledge? How do we know what you know? Whatever you know, for example, say betal katha, something like that. How could you know? Now my grandfather had told me. ଜେଜେବାପା ମତେ କହିଥିଲେ ବେତାଳ ସେ ଉପନିଷଦ କଥା କହିଲେ. How could you know that a square plus b square? My mathematics teacher had told me. The teacher is the source. How could you know that the sun rises in the east? Now my experience, my observation, I every day in the morning I look to the left side, I could see that the sun is starting like that. So there are different sources from which we can get knowledge. So let us discuss sources of knowledge. One is experience. Experience is the best teacher. This is my understanding. What is experience? Being with the situation. Being with the situation. For example, those girls, those who are not married, one kind of experience. After marriage, another kind of experience. More experience. Related to children, related to family, related to profession, related to life, personal life, like that. So, for example, you must have heard the name of Rousseau. He was a naturalist. At his early life, he lost his parents, both father and mother. Now he was a vagabond, and nobody was to take care of it. So he was loitering. He could not attend the classes in the school. He was wandering from place to place. Khali bulile. Vagabond. The place where it was evening, he was staying in the veranda. Some people, they are misbehaving like dogs and cats. Hey, ambarna kai suita kukrar pitle kankale. In the daytime, he was observing many. That way, day and night, by moving from place to place, encountering with different types of situation, he has acquired experiences. So, experiences. And those experiences have been well told in a manuscript, in a book, in a French language. What is that book? Do you know? Emily. He has written Emily. That Emily is totally his experiences. His experiences, life experiences. So he has, how did he get experience? Being with different situations, being with a veranda, being with naughty people, being with a marketplace, like that, in different situations. That has given a variety of experience. Therefore, he has a very bitter experience. He has a very bitter experience about society. So he never believed that. Therefore, he said, this society has made man bad. Man meddles with society. Man is born good. But if the man is bad, it is because of the society. The society meddles. Man is meddles with society. The society makes him bad. So therefore, he said, it is not, the child should not be given experience from the society. Society is not for Rousseau, his interpretation. Society is not the source of experience. Then why? What is the source? Nature. So therefore he said, nature is the manuscript of God. Nature is the storehouse of knowledge. Let the child be taken to the lap of nature and let the child observe the different different situations, hallmarks of nature, then he can have experience. Therefore, Rousseau was always in favor of direct experience, not vicarious, indirect, but direct experience. That direct experience can give a variety of situation to life. For example, he has told like this: let the child put his finger into the fire, so that the child can enjoy the pain of the fire, and next time he can correct him, and next time he will not put his finger into the fire, because the first instance he has experience. Oh, putting my finger into the fire is not gainful, it is painful. So let me not put second time. Experience. From the experience we learn. You do not know cooking. First time you are cooking, the curry is not tasty. After 6 times, 7 times, after 1 month, 2 months, you are experienced. You are cooking best. Anyhow, that experience is the source of knowledge. Second is social customs. We are living in a society. Every society has its own custom, traditions. 2 days back in the television, I could find one of the traditions, customs of Muslim. That is in somewhere in Dubai, something like that. If there is marriage, if the marriage between boy and girl is going on, so how can you know that the girl accept the boy to get married? So the boy and girls will be given coffee, and if the girl turns the coffee down, then it is a question of agreement. That means it is understood that the girl agreed to marry this boy. It is their custom, tradition. We have many custom traditions. For example, the traditional treatment of thyroid, and we have tradition. For example, quite in a remote area, that the first fruit, prathama phala hele kona na thakurungu daba. Tradition. Dhano hele prathama hele taku khiri kariki kaiba. Like that, we have tradition. For tradition, we learn many things, customs. Another is reasoning. Reasoning is a kind of thinking. Just about either inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning. In case of your inductive reasoning, we proceed from particular to general. In case of reasoning, there are 3 premises. One is major premise, minor premise, then inference. In case of deduction, we proceed from general to particular. Inner materiality is given. Man is mortal, major premise. Ram is a man, minor premise. So Ram is mortal. In case of inductive, Kuko is black. For example, Ram is mortal, Hari is mortal, Gopal is mortal, so all men are mortal. So like that. So therefore, this reasoning, either of inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning is a source of knowledge. That means by using thinking, we get knowledge. We have knowledge. Another source is scientific method. Using scientific method. So when you are using scientific method, these are the 7 steps you would follow, so that we can have right type of knowledge. What are steps? Step 1, a theory exists about the phenomenon. That is a theory. For example, regarding intelligence. Intelligent students memorizes well. Theory. For example. Then second step is the researcher identifies and research questions in the context of problem. Now you have a difficult situation from a problem, then you identify and you are asking questions related to the problem. Why such problems are there? Then step 3, the researcher formulates hypothesis. What is hypothesis? For the timing, we'll discuss in block 3. Hypothesis means something guessing, something shrewd guess, not simple guessing, something intellectual guessing. For example, if in a particular area, you must have heard from the television, in a particular area, the people are dying, male people are dying earlier than the female. Why? You can think of hypothesis, oh, maybe like this, maybe like this. These are the hunches, these are the guesses by using intelligence, intellectual guesses, hypothesis. Because you want to solve the problem. So your hypothesis, this might be the problem, this might be the problem. Step 4, the researcher describes the specific procedure, operations by which the variables are defined. Now here, what method will be followed, how to collect data, from whom to the data will be collected, like that. Then the research conduct the study according to the research design and collect data. Now, design is finalized. Accordingly, you have to collect data. Then the null hypothesis is tested by a researcher using data collected. There are different types of hypotheses. We will have a very threadbare. I will discuss in a threadbare manner in block 3 for timing. The hypothesis may be declarative hypothesis. The hypothesis may be directional hypothesis. The hypothesis may be non-directional hypothesis. May be research hypothesis. May be null hypothesis. May be question form hypothesis. What happens in null form? That means null means no. You declare there is no difference. For example, there will be there is no difference between the intelligence between the boys and girls in their intelligence. That means we say boys and girls are equally intelligent. How could you know? From the research studies. So therefore we say the sample, because you are conducting study on the sample. The sample is drawn from the population. You hypothesize that there is no much different divergence between the population estimate and population parameter and your sample study, like that. Then last step is the null hypothesis may be rejected or accepted. Either you can accept or you can reject. I will give an example in your unit block 3, that you understand. So that steps have been given in a flow chart form in page 12. You can read, and it is not difficult. So when the null hypothesis is either rejected or selected, accepted, that forms the knowledge. That becomes your knowledge. That becomes theory, like that. The theory is developed. New theory is developed. That takes the name of generalization or knowledge. This is all about your knowledge sources. Can anyone of you tell me what are sources of knowledge we discussed? One is your experience, social traditions, customs,
So, reasoning,
reasoning, then scientific
Reasoning.
method,
method.
like that. Now, whenever you are conducting research, you must have you are doing research related to the society. The reality is there. Therefore, you must understand the social reality, the physical environment, the social situations. So that has been talked about. So it has been well told. The human beings, there are two interpretations of reality. One is subjectivist, another is objectivist. Subjectivist interpretation of reality. It is real. That means physical environment is real, social environment is real. We are living in a society, in a natural surrounding. And that natural surrounding is full of relationships. And we have to discover, for example, how plantation is related to rain falling, how rain falling is related to harvesting, how harvesting is related to human life. So all are related. Therefore, through research, we try to find out the relationship among these phenomena. Phenomenon is singular, phenomena is plural. That is the social reality. Therefore, the social reality is based on the number of different assumptions. So already I told you, There are two interpretations of reality. One is objectivist reality, another is subjectivist reality. So objectivist reality is, they say, that is through observation, through experience, we can have our reality. We can know, we can understand, we can have knowledge. But this is reality means we have knowledge. But subjectivist means you have your consciousness. Every individual is conscious or not conscious about the social environment. Your understanding of situation is not my understanding. So therefore, according to the objectivist reality, knowledge is independent of the human being. Reality is independent. For example, either America ଅଛି କି ନାହିଁ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How could you know? Whether, I cannot say I have not seen America. America is not there. ମୁଁ ଆମେରିକା କୁ ଦେଖେ କି ନ ଦେଖେ, ଆମେରିକା ଅଛି. So America is independent of the individual. This is objectivist. So therefore, you have, unless you experience, so you have to experience. But subjectivists say it is your interpretation of the situation. For example, let me give an example. Tree. Gotcha, someone देखिए. Tree. You have seen tree, I have seen. But your interpretation of tree is not my interpretation. तमें गच्छ को देखिला पर जा भाबुचो, मु ता भाबु नाही. That means how the external stimuli, gotcha, external situation, external stimuli gives impression in your mind. For example, you are a poet. You are a poet. Looking at a tree, observing the tree, you are composing a poem. But I am not a man of Hindi, not a man of Sanskrit, not a man of English, Oriya. I am not a man of literature. I have observed tree, but I am man of botany or honors of botany, for example. So, this is subjective world. Every individual lives in his own world. So that man of botany, he thinks of, when he looks at the, or she looks at the tree, he says whether it is medicinal tree or non-medicinal. From the botanical point of view, he has knowledge of that. For example, I am not educated. I am a very poor man. I am observing the tree. ମୁଁ ଗରିବ ଲୋକଟେ ଗଛଟି ଦେଖୁଛି. ମୁଁ ମେଡିସିନ ଫେଡିସିନ କିଛି, ମୁଁ ତ ମୂର୍ଖ, ମୁଁ କଣ ଆଣିବି? So I am looking at the tree. What did I do? ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଛି କଣ? ଗଛର କେତେ ଡାଳ ଅଛି, କୋଉ ଡାଳ ଭାଙ୍ଗିଲେ କେତେ ଡାଳ ଭାଙ୍ଗିବ, କେତେ କାଠ ହବ, କେତେ କାଠ ହେଲେ କେତେ ପଇସା ମିଳିବ, ପଇସା ମିଳିଲେ ଯଦି ଅଧିକ ପଇସା ମିଳିବ ମୁଁ ଶାଢୀ ଖଣ୍ଡେ କିଣି ଦେଇ ମୋ ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ ପାଇଁ ନେଇଯିବି, like that. This is his interpretation of the external world. Similarly, an old man, after making a journey, feeling tired, taking the rest under the branches of the tree, ଗଛ ମୂଳେ ଚାଲି ଚାଲି ଥକି ଯାଇଛି, ଗଛ ମୂଳେ ବସୁଛି, ସେ କଣ କହୁଛି? ହେ ଈଶ୍ୱର, ହେ ଭଗବାନ, ଓ ଗଡ୍, the man who has implanted this tree, a good man, bless him. जो लोगटी गଛ ଲାଗିଲା, ଏ ଗଛ ଥିଲା ବେଳେ ମୁଁ ଛାଇତଳେ ବସି ପଡ଼ିଲି, ମୋ ପ୍ରାଣ ଚାଲି ଯାଇଥାନ୍ତା. You just see, tree is one. This is a given situation, but the interpretations are many. Somebody is composing poem, somebody is telling medicine or not medicine, somebody is cutting the wood, somebody is taking rest. Interpretation is something different. That is subjective world. Every individual lives in his or her own subjective world, subjective consciousness. We have our boundary. What your Kurt Lewin says, that is your life space. Life space. Everybody has life. Your space is that you are a teacher, I am a teacher. You are getting salary, I am getting salary. You are teaching, I am teaching, but you are composing poem. You are doing some social work, but I am not doing. You cannot, somebody cannot say, no, why are you not doing? No, why should I do? I don't believe it. This is my This is my understanding of life. So this is subjectivist. That means very from individual to individual. Now, the objectivists believe that reality exists independent of human beings. Whether you know America, do not know America, but America is there. For example, you are a vegetarian. You are vegetarian. Can you say no? There is no non-veg. Niramisha khauche, amish nahi kichi nahi. Whether you take or do not take, non-veg is there. So therefore, independent. Objectivists believe that reality exists independent of human beings. The world does not need an observer who may observe it. ତମେ observe କର କି ନ କର, it is there. ମୁଁ ଆଖି ବନ୍ଦ କରିଦେଇଛି, ମୁଁ କହିବି ନା ଆକାଶ ନାହିଁ, ମୁଁ ଆଖି ବନ୍ଦ କରିଦେବି ଆକାଶ ନାହିଁ, ଆଖି ଖୋଲିବି ଦେଖିବିନି ଆକାଶ ନାହିଁ, ଆକାଶ ଅଛି. So therefore the subjective say this is right from my own perspective. So this is what your subjectivists and objectivists really, because research is directed towards the discovery of the reality. For example, what you feel about this situation. This situation is given. What is your feeling? What is my feeling? What is your feeling? So this is subjectivity. When you say, what is the commonness in this? That is objectivity. Like that. We will not go in detail, but you understand that objectivists believe that reality exists independent of human beings. But subjectivists say, unless I experience something, I will not say it is existing. For example, difficult to solve, to prove. मृत्यु अच्छी कि नहीं, subjective from the subjective point of view. ମୁଁ ନମଲା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ମରିକି ଅନୁଭବ ନ କଲା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିବିନି ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ଅଛି କି ନାହିଁ. How can you know? Like that. Anyhow, let us come to the purpose of 1.6 because time is not there. Purpose of research. Already I have told you, research is an activity that helps us to generate knowledge. It helps us testing the existing knowledge, something like that. So therefore, research is essentially the process of conducting disciplined inquiry, not haphazard, not so you have to follow the certain procedure, you have to follow certain process. There are different purposes. For example, it is given, you can understand by reading. Generation, first is generation of knowledge. This is one of the purposes. Generation of knowledge. Problem solving. You have problem, you want to solve the problem. So like that, you can conduct research. Action in specific situation. This is action research. You are a classroom teacher, for example. You are a classroom teacher. You are the best teacher, but the last benchers are not attentive. Now this is a problem. So how can you make them attentive in a class? So you are conducting research. Testing, training the future researchers. So you want, for example, I am a teacher. I can help a researcher to conduct PhD, MPhil, something like that. So for the researchers, how to write an article on research. So for that purpose, research is essential. Now with this background, let us come to 1.7. What is educational research? What is educational research? According to your travels, education research is that activity which is directed towards development of a science of behavior in educational situation. The ultimate aim of such a science is to provide knowledge that will permit the educator to achieve his goal by the most effective method. That means the ultimate goal of education research is to solve the problems of education so that the goal of education can be achieved. So therefore, we can say that educational research is a process of research which is characterized by inductive, deductive reasoning. It is empirical in nature. It is self-correct. That means you correct yourself by conducting research. So therefore, educational research is directed towards the solution of the problems of education. You are making the researcher is making use of findings of research in the field of research, field of education, so that the problem of education can be solved. For example, most of the students are not intelligent, therefore they are not coming to class regularly. They are drop out. This is a problem. How can you solve the problem? Now you are taking recourse. You can contact those students. You can ask them why are not coming. What can be done? So on the basis of that, you can solve the problem. Then come to scope of education research. What is the area of research? For example, one can be levels of education, levels of stages: primary, secondary, elementary, secondary, higher secondary, college, university. You can do like, for example, you want to know, you want to do research in the area of dropout in the primary school, that is elementary. You can do the problems of college students, university students. You can understand the problems of college teachers, university students, like that. Another is classification by curriculum areas: language, science, mathematics, history, geography, like that. Teaching method, like that. Then classification by research methods. You can conduct research in the by adapting historical method. You can select a problem by which can help you to take up your historical, philosophical research. You can conduct research by using experimental research. So you can also look to that. For example, we have different surveys of research. First survey, second survey, third survey. Now we have 8 or 9 surveys. The first survey of research, first survey of education research, was undertaken by Professor M.B. Butch. He was the professor of CASE, Center of Advanced Studies in Education, Baroda. So then NCERT, now it is NCERT which is taking up like that. Now in the first survey, it is given in your material, page 18. In the first survey, as many as 7 areas were mentioned. For example, first was education research in India. So what are the research? What are the research? Philosophy of education, history of education, social of education, personal. For example, social of education. You want to study the tribal custom, traditions, marriage system, that comes under sociology of education. Personality, learning, psychology, guidance, counseling, test, measurement, curriculum, methods and textbooks, programmed learning, then correlates of achievement, educational evaluation, examination, teaching and teacher behavior, teacher education, educational administration, economics of education, social and adult education, and education survey. These are the major 17 areas of education research which has been reported in first survey of 1974. In the fifth survey, second survey, third survey, fourth survey, fifth, in the fifth survey, which was in 1997, as many as 38 areas. This is the scope, how the scope is getting expanded in the area of education. Now you can think of different areas of education for the research. So what are those? You must understand, so that while you are selecting your problem, it can help you. The fifth survey, 97, education research in India, philosophy of education, sociology, history, economics, psychology, mental health, cognitive processes, social processes, motivation, creativity and innovation, guidance, counseling, curriculum development, pre-primary education. Now stages of education, pre-primary education. Now we have, for example, Balwadi, something like that. Preschool education, pre-primary education, primary education, secondary education, higher education, social science education, science education, mathematics education. Now curriculum wise, physical and health education, moral art and aesthetic education, education technology, teaching strategies, teacher education, pre-service, in-service, vocational technical education, special education, open and distance education, adult continuing non-formal education, education of SC, STs, minorities, education of girls and women, demographic studies in education population, education, ecological and environmental studies, comparative. You can compare the education system of America and Japan. You can compare the education system of tribal, non-Muslim and Hindus, like that. Comparative education, then educational assessment, evaluation, educational planning and policy research, organization, administration, management of education, correlates of achievement. If the students are achieving well, what are the correlates? What are the factors? If not, what are the factors? Like that. So these are the. Also, there are Ganesh handbook and uh, which there are other books also. These can help you to find out, identify the sources, the different areas from where you can conduct research. Let us come to page 20, 1.9, types of studies in education research. Already I have given you some hints. Education research can be quantitative, maybe qualitative, under two broad categories: quantitative and qualitative. That quantitative is based on positivist. That means like experimentation, observation, like that. Qualitative is based on humanistic paradigm. Under quantitative, we can have education research like experimental, quasi means semi, quasi experimental correlation. Under your qualitative, maybe survey, maybe case study, maybe documentary analysis, maybe developmental, maybe ethnographic, maybe historical, maybe philosophical. So these are the different types of studies which can be undertaken for conducting educational research. That will discuss when the method will be discussed. So this is all about your unit 1. Is it okay or is there any problem? If you have no problem, then we can go to unit 2, because this is the base, so that I am very slow. Otherwise, gradually I can be speed. Is it okay or any problem? If any problem, you can ask me. 2 minutes. Any problem? No problem.
Co-relational research. Co-relational research.
That's a very. What is correlation? Correlation studies the relationship between two variables. For example, is there any relationship between intelligence and achievement? This is correlation. Is there any relationship between teacher status and teacher efficiency? For example, if you are given high scale, does it help you to teach better? Is there any relationship?
Yes,
Similarly, is there any relationship between human touch and student achievement? What is human touch? ତମେ ପଢଉଛ ମୁଁ ପଢୁଛି, ବାପାରେ ଧନରେ କଣ ହେଲା ବୁଝିପାରିଲୁନି କି? ମୋ ପାଖକୁ କଣ କହିବୁ? କିଛି ଭୟ କରନା. ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଟଚ୍. ଦି ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ୱିଲ୍ ଫିଲ୍ ହୋମ ଲାଇକ୍. ମୋ ଘର ବାପା ମା ଯେମିତି କହୁଛନ୍ତି, ମୁଁ ଇଏ ମୋ ଟିଚର ନୁହଁ. ଆଉ ଯେ ଟିଚର ପଢଉଥିବ ଭାରି ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ, ଭାରି ଭଲ ଟିଚର, ବଟ୍ ଭେରି ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ, ଟକ୍ସଲେସ୍, କଥା କମ କହୁଥିବ, ଭୟ ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖଉଥିବ. Now the student will not be nearer to the teacher. So therefore there is a gap. So therefore, is there any relationship between this and that? So correlation studies try to investigate the relationship between two variables. If there is a relationship between these two variables, to what extent? If there is a relationship between this and that, for example, my first question was, is there any relationship between mathematics achievement in mathematics and intelligence? And
yes.
for that purpose, you are collecting data. Two sets of data. One is achievement mark in mathematics, another is IQ, intelligence quotient. You have taken 100 students of class 9, section A. For example, there are 100 students or 50 students. What can you do? Roll number 1. What is his mark in mathematics? You keep in one side. Then roll number the same student. What is his IQ? So give intelligence scale, get his IQ score. Second student, what is his mathematical ability in the Sanvasya Parikha, Varshiya Parikha, Thivu mark Thivu, like that.
Yes,
Then the student will be given intelligence test. What is his IQ? That means every student has two scores. We call it pair of scores. Pair of scores. Gote hela kono na mathematics mark, aur hela kono intelligence mark. Inte mark no intelligence score, IQ. Intelligence quotient. How many students are there? 50 students or 40 students. So 40 pair. Era bujhela ki nahi?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Acha. Now we have 40 pairs. We want to know whether mathematics mark and intelligence they are related or not. Therefore, we have to apply the statistics of correlation. Detail correlation.
Okay.
Now the question is there are two types of correlation. One is rank difference correlation, another is product moment correlation. Now here, which correlation will be applied? Now product moment. Why? The sample is large, more than 30. Sample is large. Therefore, it is a parametric statistics. Product moment. Now, what is the formula of correlation? The simplest one I can tell you: small summations small x small y by summation small x square into summation small y square root over. Now you put this for sum. Small x means deviation x. Deviation x. Deviation x means x is a x stands for raw score of 1. The mathematics x. The score of mathematics, that is x. Now, what is the average score of your 40 students in mathematics? तमर मैथमेटिक्स मोर तार 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 समस्त मैथमेटिक्स मार्क अच्छी ताको मिसे दबा 40 हर दबा. दैट इज द एवरेज मार्क इन मैथमेटिक्स. प्रथम पिलार धर एवरेज मार्क ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स हला 55. प्रथम पिलार केते अछि ना 40 ना 40 minus 55 minus 15, that is small x. Deviated x, that is mathematics. चला चला तक पड़िबो. सिमिली y रो हबो the formula पकेबो. Now when the formula is put, that is what is the formula? Now summation small x small y by summation small x square into small y square root over, and the result is 0.55 or 0.35. गोटे कोन मिलिबो आमे ता कोन कोन ना coefficient value of coefficient of correlation. The value of coefficient of correlation is for example 0.55 or 0.79 or 0.25 कोन गुड हला value. Now we have to interpret value तो मिल गेला, whether this value says there is relationship or not. तो कमे कोन करबा ना स्टैटिस्टिक कंपेयर टेबल वैल्यू देखिबा. For example, more than 0.5 means it is significant. Now we can say if it is significant, then we can say there is a positive relationship between intelligence and mathematics marks. So we can say a student who is more intelligent is also more mathematically competent. That means a student who has scored more mark in mathematics is expected to be more intelligent. मु मनरु कहूनी मो फाइनिंग कर मो रिसर्च कहला तेनु जने मैथमेटिक्स रो भलो मार्क आने पहले से इंटेलिजेंट हबा दरकार. रिसर्च कहू दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व. आज्ञा मैथमेटिक्स भलो के बेले कोन करिया पड़ियो ना रिसर्च कहला कोन ना या हबा पड़ियो. तो इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now should we proceed to unit 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
Okay, sir.
with the background of with this background of what is knowledge, what are source of knowledge, what is reality about knowledge, then we can proceed to knowledge generation, historical perspective, unit 2. In that unit, in this unit, we can talk about, it has been told, sources of knowledge, scientific method in detail. Already I have given you some ideas. Now here it is told in detail. For example, one of the sources is your beliefs, your life experience, like that. Life experiences. When you talk about life means from birth to death, this is life. This is a span of life, we can say, from birth to death. ଆମର ଶରୀର 6ଟା ଅବସ୍ଥା ଅଛି ନା. ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା କଣ ଜନ୍ମ, ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲା କଣ ବୃଦ୍ଧି ଅଭିବୃଦ୍ଧି, ତାପରେ ହେଲା କଣ ନା ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ, ତାପରେ ହେଲା କ୍ଷୟ, ତାପରେ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ, ଏଗୁলো ସବୁ ହବ like that. During each period you are experiencing. So that is life experience. Being with life you are experiencing. For example, you are a student, I am a student. You are a man, I am man. I am a very poor man. My experience is not your experience. Why? You are rich fellow. Every day I am struggling. How to earn money, how to manage my life. My son has demanded 1,000 rupees for his college fees. How can I arrange? You are not thinking about that. So I have a struggling life, for example. Similarly, you have mother, I have no mother. Another type of experience. Life teaches us. Life teaches us. What we know, it is because you are alive. Those who are dead, they have no experience. Those who are alive, I'm बंचे तो experience हमारे बंचले खाइला the for example, I still remember when I was a small child, not small means I was reading in class 5 or 4. I belong to Baleshwar. So my grandfather, when we are taking our lunch, if a single drop of rice fall down, we are beaten. यदि गोटे भात पड़ुला माड़ होता we could not understand. आम तो बुझु नथुलु काल आम रागुथुलु एबे बुझुछु नाइ every pie has a value. प्रत्येक पैसा रे मूल्य अछि, प्रत्येक चाउल रे मूल्य अछि. Lakshmi, something like that. Banijye basete Lakshmi, like that. Anyhow, therefore, this life teaches us. Therefore, from the life, when you have life, you are a person, you have personal experiences, maybe bitter, maybe better. Bitter experience, maybe better experience. Both put together. So therefore, like that. Anyhow, you know better than me because you are living. You have either teaching experience, if you are a teacher, if you are not teacher, if you are married, those who are married, experience from married life, experience from being not married, experience being not getting job, like that. So experience. Similarly, authority, experts. We have different experts in different fields. For example, experts in the field of agriculturists, scientists, economists, administrators, IS officers, something like teachers, so the soldiers, so all experts in their field, not in their field. If you are a man of literature, you are a master of literature, you are an expert in literature. If I am a scientist, I am an expert in the field of science, like that. So therefore, these authorities must be appealed to. Whenever you have any problem, you want to solve your problem, why not you meet the authority? For example, you have some problem related to science, meet science teacher, meet the scientist. If you have any problem regarding mental disorder, psychiatrist, psychologist. If you have any problem regarding education, educationist, like that. So they can help you, they can solve your problem. Therefore, accepting experts' opinions unconditionally thus may lead to untruth rather than knowledge. Sometimes don't believe in unconditionally. Whatever one says, don't believe. It should be verified. Then another is custom tradition. Already I have told you much. Therefore, we learn from our custom tradition. For example, there are some blind beliefs that we should not believe. Guru Vardhana kahak paisa dabani Lakshmi chalji. Wrong. You are a science teacher. I have seen most of the science teachers. They say no. Guru Vardhana debini paisa. Kita Guru bara koto kata dabata dabu. It is unscientific. Similarly, sometimes say when you start Monday, no joining for good purposes. Sombad na gote bhalo kamo sombad jiben. Mangalbar, Budhwar. This I believe. Biryani katti gala agare. I am not. It is a blind belief. But if the traditions are good, customs are good, for example, respecting elders is a custom, good condition, good tradition. Accept it. Therefore, it has been well told in Bhagavad Gita. তিনটি যোগ আছে, জ্ঞান যোগ, ভক্তি যোগ, কর্ম যোগ. ভক্তি কোন? ভক্তি is equal to devotion, is equal to জ্ঞান plus কর্ম, knowledge plus কর্ম. কোন? For example, ভক্তি গুরুজন ମାନଙ୍କୁ ସମ୍ମାନ ଦେବା, ବାପାଙ୍କୁ ସେବା କରିବା. ବାପା ଆମର ଗୁରୁଜନ, ବାପାଙ୍କର ସେବା କରିବା. এইটা হচ্ছে কোন খালি জ্ঞান কোন বাপা মোর গুরুজন, এটা হলো জ্ঞান। কর্ম কোন না বাপা গোড় ঘষ দৌছ, বাপা ঔষধ আনি দৌছ। This plus this is equal to your bhakti. That means তুমি বাপাঙ্কু ভক্তি করুছ। So like that. So therefore we gain knowledge from our customs, tradition. That customs and tradition that teach us many things. For example, it is well said. Most of you, even my mother was not educated, illiterate. But the kind of stories, moral story, fables, stories based on morality, she used to tell, that has given a base for value. They were not educated, but we are educated. We are not giving. We have failed to give value to our children. And this deductive reading, inductive reading, already I have told you. Then scientific method, already I have told you that these steps are there. Felt page 30, a felt difficulty, and problem should be identified. Then solution should be suggested. Reasoning, deductive reasoning, then testing hypothesis. If these 5 steps are followed, then the kind of knowledge which is arrived at, the way the problem is solved, it is a kind of right thing. Then the limitations of scientific method has been told. You can read. For example, sometimes the steps we are following may not be appropriate. It is based on some kind of theoretical postulates. So one cannot observe, for example, one cannot observe that situation presents a misconstructed notion. Sometimes what your findings say scientifically may not be right. One example I can tell you. I have read in one article. It has been written by one of the scholars. The conclusion was like this. From the experimentation, he has come to the conclusion, but it is wrong. What is the conclusion? That on the basis of his experimentation, he said, he concluded, generalized, if the students are given given to smoke, then their ability to do mathematics is more. তার কোন যদি পিলামানে টিকে সিগারেট পিকে পিবে তাଙ୍କର ম্যাথমেটিক্স জ্ঞান ভাল হব, সে কইলে through the research. But can you, as you are teaching mathematics, can you tell your students, my students, do you want to improve your mathematical ability? If the students say yes, then can you say, the research findings say, go on smoking, go on smoking, go on smoking. This is morally not correct. So it may hardly be told, but it is misconstructed. No, because every research has some ethics. It is beyond ethics. So this is all about your unit 2. Now let us come to unit A. Is there any problem for unit 2? Minded learners, any problem regarding unit 2 or any inquiry?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then let us come to unit 3. Knowledge generation. Again repeated something more. Here already we have told knowledge generation through the scientific approach had a powerful impact. It has been written on the viewing the natural environment and improve the condition. That means whatever knowledge we have arrived at through the, not by other methods, but by conducting scientific method, by using scientific method, that is more conclusive and that has more impact, and we can improve the social life. Therefore, in order to solve the problem, we must understand the situation of, that is the social reality. Therefore, it has been well told that some kind of paradigm is to be accepted. Let us see what is that paradigm. A paradigm determines the scientific approach and procedure which stand out and exemplary to new generation scientists as long as they oppose. That means a paradigm means a design, a framework, which must be followed so that we can conduct scientific method. This the term paradigm has well been told by your Cohen in his book, The Structure of Intellect in Scientific Revolution. A paradigm gathers into itself a community of investigators. That means a variety of investigators put together. Some are experimenting, some are surveying, some are doing historical research. By sharing information within itself, this community gives itself intellectual social support. That means uh, those community, those who are within the framework, they support. They give their own views. Therefore, a paradigm is essential. Then what is positivistic paradigm? A positivistic paradigm of knowledge generation is based on the philosophical ideas of Auguste Comte, who turned to observation and reason as the means of understanding. So, according to Comte, he talked about positivistic paradigm. So, he talks about the observation and reason as the means of understanding behavior. If because we want to solve the problem, then the behavior is to be understood. Then how can you understand the behavior? Through observation and reason. Therefore, these are the two means through which we can understand the human behavior. Therefore, he said, Comte's position was to lead to a general doctrine of positivism, which held that all genuine knowledge is, this is more important, all genuine knowledge is based on sense experience and can only be advanced by means of observation and experimentation. That means a positivistic paradigm gives emphasis on knowledge and genuine knowledge generation through observation and experimentation. Then there are different features of this positivist paradigm. One is difficulty in precise meaning. So it is very difficult to give exact meaning precisely. For example, who are the positivistic paradigm philosophers like Bacon, Mill, Hume? All these are the believer. All these philosophers, they believe in positivistic paradigm. The term it is difficult to assign a very precise and consistent meaning. Why? The logical positivists hold that the meaning of a, this is more important, the meaning of a statement or is given by the method of its verification, unverifiable statement, therefore meaning. So, whatever the meaning is given in the statement, it is very difficult to verify. So, therefore, it is meaningless. Any statement which cannot be verifiable, it doesn't carry any meaning. Then assumptions. There are 4 assumptions. First assumption is, that means what are their beliefs? There is the assumption of determinism. What is determinism? Everything is determined in the environment, in the physical environment, in the natural environment. Things are determined. Like that. According to which events have causes and are determined by other circumstances. Already events are there. It is the ultimate aim of scientists to formulate laws. It is already there. You have to only give the explanation why it is happening. It is already determined. The second assumption is that of empiricism. First is determinism. This is the first assumption of your positivistic paradigm. Second is empiricism, experiencing, which holds that certain kinds of reliable knowledge can only originate in experience, which scientifically means that acceptance of a theory or a hypothesis depends on the nature of empirical evidence. So, we can experience, then we can say it is knowledge. Then third is, that is your empiricism, which is based on experience. The third assumption underlying the work of the scientist is the principle of parsimony, means economically. Parsimony, the basic idea behind which is that phenomena should always be explained in the most economical way possible. Most, not very vividly. Any, for example, the phenomenon of dropout. Let me give an example. What are the causes of, say, what are the causes of the dropout? You can, one can say, तार बापा नहीं, तार माँ नहीं, तार भाई नहीं, तार भौन नहीं, तार खाया को नहीं, तार अमुगी नहीं, ए बापा नहीं, भाई नहीं, अमुगी नहीं, सब गोटे कहते ना फैमिली पार्सिमनी. Similarly, बापा चाकरी पाई नहीं, घर पैसा नहीं, economic. So this is how another one, parsimony, economical way, very limited way. The fourth assumption is that of a generality, that means conclusion, extensiveness, generality, which form the essential aspect of both the deductive and inductive method of reasoning. So another assumption is that we have to make generalization from the either by using inductive method or deductive method. Conclusion. So therefore, these are the four assumptions of your positivistic paradigm. Now, there are some other approaches to the field of inquiry, specifically in the field of social science. This has been given in page 38, 3.3.3. Some of the approaches are, it is alternative approaches to development of social science inquiry. You are, because we are mostly making inquiry in the social science. One is this is one of the alternative approaches, phenomenology. What is phenomenology? Phenomenology is the theoretical point of view that advocates the study of direct experience taken at face value. It sees behavior as determined by the phenomena of experience rather than by external, objective, and physically described reality. So, only the reality you feel, it is not like that. So, phenomenology believes that the individual must feel experience himself. For example, you are suffering from fever. You know what kind of pain you have. मुंड बिंधुला, देह बहुतला, भोक लागुतला, सोया इच्छा होनुतला, विरक्ति लागुतला मते. कि जने कहबो ज्वर हेले एमिति लागो सेमिति लागो सेमिति. जने कहबा अलगा, जने अनुभव करिया अलगा. So that phenomenology talks about your personal experience, your feeling, your understanding. That is what the features are like this: a belief in the importance and in the primacy of subjective conscious. Subjective means individual. You have your consciousness, you have your experience. मु खाई नहीं मुझे अनुभव करुछि. जने कहबो न खाइले भारी देहटा खराब हे जो, स्वास्थ्य खराब हे जो, चालिया को इच्छा बने. जो लोकटा न खाइ सेटा अनुभव करुछि. That is conscious. Second is an understanding of consciousness as active, as meaning based. That gives a meaning to you. You can understand that जो माने गरीब घर पिलाटी ऊपर पोषण जाए से जानी पारे गरीब लोकर काम कथाटा कोन. So because he has experience. A claim, the third feature is a claim that there are certain essential structures to consciousness of which we gain direct knowledge by a certain kind of reflection. Always, today you are conscious, for example, a poet. Not always he tries to compose poem. He is a good poet. Unless it is in the consciousness. Consciousness is not always very alert. Therefore, there is certain time, if in the mid time or in the when the mind is very free. So therefore, your experience as a subject, as an individual, is very free. When you feel, your consciousness feel that it is the time to do. So these are the different features. The phenomenologists believe that any phenomenon obtains because it is experienced. If any, Suchishri Marana, any problem? Suchishri? No. So therefore,
No,
only
sir.
you know your problem. I know my problem. I cannot understand your problem. You know your problem. That is phenomenology. So therefore, phenomenology says that phenomenon obtains because it is experienced. Dukhi jane dukha katha. Like that. The process of experiencing involves the interaction between. This is more important. Why such experience you have? The process of experiencing involves the interaction between social environment and the individual. Because my environment, the society where I am, that environment enables me to think like that. If I am poverty stricken, if I have no mother, I have the feeling that love is not a good thing. No mother, nothing, because I have no mother. So therefore, I am experiencing like that. So therefore, social interaction, so social environment and individual put together when they are interacting, then that gives you some experience. For example, had you not taken admission into MA education through IGNOU, this time from 5 to 7, you could have been moving. ଯଦି ତମେ ଇଗ୍ନୋର MA ଏଜୁକେସନ କରିଥାନ୍ତ ଏବେ 5 ସାଲ କଣ କରୁଥାନ୍ତ ବୁଲଥାନ୍ତ ଏବେ କ୍ଲାସ ହଉଛି ଅଛ ନା so like that. So man is bounded by social conditions. So social situation, social environment, and individual, when they interact, that gives some kind of experience. So like that. And this is all about phenomenology. Another is your ethnomethodology. Ethnomethodology. It is used in sociology, something like that. What is that ethnomethodology? Ethnomethodology is a sociological approach that examines the ways in which individuals engage in ordinary everyday interaction to construct and maintain social order. We live in a very mundane world. Mundane means tellaluna samsara. Mundane world. Some are ordinary, some are extraordinary.
Tanushree, please mute your mic. Tanushree.
So therefore, sometimes we are living in a very ordinary way. Our life is very ordinary, but sometimes that ordinary life makes you extraordinary. I can cite the example of Duti Chand, Duti from Odisha. Now, just see, if you look to the family background, very poor. So she was narrating that the trucks which were moving from here to there in their village, and sometimes the potato out of khashi korthla, he collect kari khauthli. This was the economic situation. Now, where is she? That is the region. So therefore, you have to examine where I was, where I am. So in everyday activities, everyday interactions, when I was poor, I was interacting with these people. When I got a position, different type of people. When I was not a politician, these people. When I become a politician, these are the people. These are the experiences. These are the situations. Doing what. So these are the things we have to study. So therefore, another approach is ethnomethodology. This ethnomethodology seeks to understand social accomplishment in their own terms. It is concerned to understand them from within. That comes from within. For example, I was poor. When I find some poor student, because you are a teacher, you are a headmaster, what I can do for the poor boy? Because when I was a poor man, poor boy, I was suffering like this. Let me do, because this is the feeling, like that. So therefore, two terms have been used here. Let me clarify you in page 40. One is indexicality and another is reflexivity. What is this? Indexicality refers to the ways in which actions and statements are related to the social context, producing them, while The reflexivity refers to the way in which all accounts of social settings, description, analysis, criticism, and the social setting occasions them are mutually interdependent. So these are mutually for example, father, mother, there is social marriage and attending marriage. This is a social context. Now, in that context, when you are interacting, you are moving from here to there. Some people are taking away, some are not invited guests, they are coming and there is quarrel. From that you can know something. देखिए बाहर भोजरे बहुत लोग आसे खाई जाते हैं डका नथियो तेन से मालिक को जाके आपण काई खाइले हमर लोक खाई बरत खाई नाती गंडोल होतो so this is the situation. Now you can make a reflection on how to tackle the situation. So therefore the way in which actions and statements are related to this is social context. How that social context is to be handled, that is your indexicality. This is your reflexivity. How that situation be handled, that is your indexicality. So therefore, that is when you are studying, when you are making an ethnomethodological study, these two are to be considered: social situation and how that social situation is mobilized, how that social situation is tackled. That is to be done. Then emergence of field methods. There are some other field methods. Today we will not discuss that. I will give the names. One is your case method. Another is a projective technique. Another is anecdotal record. So tomorrow we will discuss. Not today. Either any it is only time. Either any question, query, doubt, you can ask 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we can wind up the session. Any query, any further discussion, so far as something is discussed, any clarity, or should we wind up the session? Should we close? Please do it.
सर आपण जो कहले ब्लॉक 5 रे अछि सिनोपिस सेटा कोन केमती सबमिट हेबो टिके कहिबे
रिसर्च हमर एरा सब थ्योरी को होउछ तमर सेकंड ईयर बेले को हबो ना गोटे डिसर्टेशन दबो
आगे
अच्छा से डिसर्टेशन कला पूर्वरु तुम गोटे काहा ऊपर तुम लिखिबो ता पर गोटे सिनोप्सिस करिवो 7-8 पेज रे से मु ता कहबी डिटेल तुमर जो गाइड नबो अप्रूव्ड गाइड नबो गाइड अंडर एक टॉपिक नबो टॉपिक नै कि 5-6 पेज रे तुमर टॉपिक ना कोन तार हाइपोथेसिस को ऑब्जेक्टिव कोन हाइपोथेसिस कोन सैंपल कोन डाटा केन कलेक्ट करियो सब लेखि कि 5-6 पेज रे ताको सबमिट करिवो हला पर इग्नो कोन करे ताकर असन एक्सपर्ट सब अछन ताको देखिबे देखि कि जे ठीक थो ओके करी अप्रूव करिवे कि जो अच्छे थो एटा मॉडिफाई करिवे एमति करी सेंड करे कहि तुमु देबे देला परे तापर तुम कोन करियो ना तुमरो सी जो साथ तुम गाइड थिबे सुपरवाइजर ताको अंडर रे काम करी कि तुमरो अछि तार गुटे डिसेंबर सेशन दबो बा गुटे जून सेशन जुलाई सेशन दबो देला पर तुम तापर भाई बाहाबो तुम डाकिबे तुम फोन नंबर देइतो कि एसएमएस तुम मेसेज तुम देइतो व्हाट्सएप देइतो तुम मेसेज दिबो तो भाई बाको आसो भाई बार से प्रश्न पचाइबे कोन कोन कलो कोन नै एटा मु डिटेल कहबी खाली एबे तो खाली थोट कहि देली डिटेल कहबी
सर एटा फर्स्ट ईयर रे नो सेकंड ईयर रे
ना सेकंड ईयर तमर फर्स्ट ईयर एग्जाम सरी जिवो सरी गेला परे कान तुम आगे थ्योरी जानो थर धरि नियो तुम डाटा कलेक्शन करियो क्वेश्चन आटे किमिति करिवो से पढले जानले तो कहबो ना एटी स्केल किमिति करिवो किबा तमरो इंटरनेट स्केल किमिति करिवो बा स्टैंडर्ड टेस्ट कोड अछि सो जानला परे तापर तमरो सेकंड मान तुम धर एबे तुम को बैच एडमिशन जनवरी ना जुलाई रे जनवरी जानो तो तान तुम डिसेंबर परीक्षा दबो डिसेंबर परीक्षा देला पर तापर जनवरी फेब्रुआरी पता तुम सिनेबस आरंभ कर लेखा लिख करिवो तुम गाइड ठीक करी जनवरी फेब्रुआरी आरंभ करिवो परे तमरो नेक्स्ट डिसेंबर होइते सबमिट कर दबो अपन
आगे आगे
हैना
धन्यवाद
एनी फर्दर इंक्वायरी और शुड वी क्लोज या कि जसिना बंद करबा
सर एबे सितंबर रे असाइनमेंट सबमिशन होबो
हां आ सब तो मटेरियल पाई गेलो ना नहीं कोई माने त बोल तो कोई ना मटेरियल
हां सर मिलला हां मिलला
बस ठीक है अरे लेखा लिखरेशन करी कि ता दे देबो टाइम बाउंड कर कारण जो माने सब चाकरी कर टाइम बाउंड देखि रबारे भाव देखि कोन करी करबो न समय नाही ना जो माने चाकरी न करतो लागता जो माने चाकरी कर माने जो लेडीज मैरिड काम घर काम अछि ता भी समय तक रूटीन टे करिवो किमिति केबे कोन करियो शनिवार रविवार कोन करी कि खाली करी सब दबो आ सब जो माने सबमिट करे असाइनमेंट दिस इज माय एक्सपीरियंस बही बही पढ़ तुम देख किंतु तुम निज लैंग्वेज देखियो कि एग्जाम दबो बही बही पॉइंट आण कि तुमको ताको एक्सप्लेन कर निज लैंग्वेज हेले भलो ग्रेड आसु ए ग्रेड माने ओरिजिनल देखिया पड़ो
सर जो क्वेश्चन एग्जाम हो जो क्वेश्चन आसीबो से क्वेश्चन तो माने केते मार्क लिखा आसीबो धरो
तो
क्वेश्चन
मार्क
नंबर
ने
1 2
तुमर 70% 30% इंटरनल 30% 70% हमर गवर्नमेंट एग्जामिनेशन 70% तुमर आछियो कोन 300 मार्क गोटे 150 मार्क चारिटा 600 मार्क गोटे इनसो आछियो तुम क्वेश्चन पैटर्न देखो ना ओल्ड क्वेश्चन देखो ना
आज्ञा सर देखियो
अच्छी देखि दो
सर हमर फर्स्ट ईयर रे जो स्टडी मटेरियल मिली ची सेकंड ईयर हेले आउ मिलिबो ना एई सब बही
ना 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 ना
फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर पे
फास्ट अलग सेकंड तुम धर ऑप्शन उन फॉर्म फिल करियो ना
आज्ञा सर
धर हायर एजुकेशन अच्छी हायर एजुकेशन डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन तापरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बिहेवियर मैनेजमेंट केते सब अच्छी
आज्ञा
फुल
सर
चॉइस दबो तले तुम जे जा दबो ताको से अनुसार बही आसीबो बही तो नो ताको सिम सेल्फ इंस्ट्रक्शनल मटेरियल
आज्ञा सर
हैला
सर जो सिनॉप्सिस होबो
हां
किंतु
हम जो
हां
गाइड ठीक करबो सर हमर यूनिवर्सिटी रो जे गाइड अछन तांको नै करबो ना माने
नहीं
आ कि
गाइड पानी
सजेशन आसबो कि गाइड
गाइड पाई ताके गुटे अप्रूव लिस्ट अछि हैला बा तमे जो एरिया तुम घर कोठी
सर
कि
केन्द्रापड़ा
पदतला हां केंद्रापड़ा केंद्रापड़ा ऑटोनोमस कॉलेज अछि केंद्रापड़ा ऑटोनोमस कॉलेज अछि ताके सेठी एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट अछि जो माने पीएचडी करथि डॉक्टर पीएचडी करथिबे 8-10 वर्ष एक्सपीरियंस से माने गाइड हे परिबे अच्छा किछ नै
किंतु
तेन
सर
घर पाखर
हमको
नबो
तो गोटे सब्जेक्ट जैसे एमईएस रो दीटा वॉल्यूम बही मिली ची हमको
कोनटा
माने
दी
बुक
वर्ष
दीटा
मिले
मिली ची
दी वर्ष
वॉल्यूम
दी
अच्छा
वर्ष
2
मिले
ईयर पे ना हां 2
वॉल्यूम 1
वॉल्यूम
वॉल्यूम 2
1
मिलछि
वॉल्यूम 2 मिली ची
ना
ना
भले
ना सेटा
कोठे
फर्स्ट ईयर ପାଇଁ ସେଟା କେବଳ ଫାଷ୍ଟ
ସେଟା
ଇୟର
ସବୁ
ପାଇଁ
ଯାକ
ପାଞ୍ଚଟା ବ୍ଲକ ଅଛି ଏଇଥିରେ ତିନିଟା ସେଇଥିରେ ଦିଟା ଟୋଟାଲ ଟା
ନାଇଁ
ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର
ମମତା
ପାଇଁ
ନା ମୁଁ କିଏ ପଚାରିଲା ସୁଚି ସିନା କିଏ ପଚାରିଲା ନା ଅଙ୍କିତା କିଏ ପଚାରିଲା
ମୁଁ ପଚାରିଲି ସାର୍
ହଁ
ମୁଁ
ପଚାରିଲ ନା
କହୁଛି ଯୋଉ
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ଏବେ
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ଏମଇଏସ୍
ମୁଁ କହିଦେ ତା ମତେ କହିବୁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ତମର
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର एमएस 11 11 12 13 14 15 16
ओके
अच्छा तुम से कौन लिखा है ऊपर एमएस कौन लिखा है से वॉल्यूम 1 हो कि 2
एमईएस
एमएस
016 अभी
एमएस
16
माने कौन एमएस माने हला मास्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन स्टडी
मास्टर हाँ मास्टर ऑफ एजुकेशन स्टडी
सेटा कौन लिखा है नंबर केते 11 12 13 ना कौन लिखा है
ଆଜ୍ଞା
16
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ପଢା ହଉଛି 16 ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି
ना ना एटा नहीं ना तुमको जो बही मिली कौन लिखा है ए सब पाइथिबो
ସେମିତି
11 12
11
13
ସବୁ
14
ଯାକ
15
ମିଳିଛି
16
ସାର୍ 11
ना नहीं
12 13 14 15 16 ସବୁ ମିଳିଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ଦିଟା ଲେଖେ ବହି ମିଳିଛି
ओहो हला ठीक अछि सेटा तुमको से दीटा वॉल्यूम कर टोटल देछि 16 होइछि किंतु तुमर सेकंड ईयर एमएस 42 43 44 40 से अलग आइजो तुमको काहा को मिलछि कि 42 41 43 मिलछि कि
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍
ନାଇଁ
କେବଳ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଇୟର ହିଁ
तुमको
ମିଳିଛି
हां ठीक ମୁଁ ତା କହି ଦିଏ ଏ ବର୍ଷ ତୁମକୁ ମିଳିଥିବ ଏମଏସ୍ 11 ରୁ 16 11 12 13 14 15 16 ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 हो ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 2 ସେଇ 16 ଭିତରେ
ଓକେ
ତେଣୁ
ସାର୍
ସେ ତାକୁ ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ ଦିଭାଗ କରିଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ଆଉ କଣ ଆଉ କିଛି କଥା ନାହିଁ ସେ ପାଠ ସେଇଥିରେ
ହଁ
ଅଛି ସେ କାହିଁକି
ଓକେ
ସେମାନେ
ସାର୍
କାହିଁକି
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
5-6ଟା ବହି କରିବେ ଗୋଟେ ବହି କରିଦେଲେ ଆଉ କଣ ଦିଟା ବହି କରିଦେଲେ ହେଲା
सर 12 रो और 16 रो के दीटा लेखे बुक मिलचा आ बाकी सब गोटे गोटे अछि
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି କିଛି ନାହିଁ ଏଇଟାକୁ ଚେକ୍ କରୁନି ତମେ ଗୋଟେ ଦିଟା ତମକୁ ଭୋକ ଲାଗୁଛି ମୁଁ 5ଟା ରୁଟି ଖାଇବି 6ଟା ରୁଟି ତମକୁ ଯେତେ ଭୋକ ମଲା ମାନେ ଖାଉନ ତମକୁ ଦିଟା ବହି ମିଳୁ କି ଗୋଟେ ବି ମିଳୁ ତମର ସବୁ ୟୁନିଟ୍ ଥିଲା ଗଲା ସେଥିରେ କିଛି ବାଦ ତମେ ସେ ପାଇଁ ଓରିଡ୍ ହୁଅନି ସେ ଭିତରେ ତା ଭିତରେ ସବୁ ପାଠ ଅଛି ଆମେ ତ ପାଠ ପଢା ଦେଖିବ ସେ ତ ଥିବ ଆଉ ହେଲା ତମେ ଦେଖ
ଓକେ
ବହି
ସାର୍।
ଦେଖ
ନାଇଁ
କାଲି
ଆପଣ
କାଲି ପୁଣି
ଯେତେବେଳେ ବ୍ଲକ୍
ଆଁ?
5 କହିଲେ ନା ମୁଁ ବୁକ୍ ରେ ଦେଖୁଥିଲି ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 ରେ 3 ଯାଏଁ ଅଛି 4 5 କୁଆଡେ ଗଲା ବୋଲି ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଥିଲି ବହିରେ ଆପଣ 5
ବ୍ଲକ୍ ଟୁ
କହିଲେ
ଥିବ
ତ ହଁ ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 2 ରେ ଅଛି ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 2 ରେ ଅଛି।
ହଁ ଦେଖିଲେ ହବ ନା ନ ଦେଖିଲେ ହବନି
ନାଇଁ
ସବୁ ଅଛି
ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି ଦେଖିଲି।
ନା ନା ତମେ ପଇସା ଦେଇଛ ନା ଛୁଟି ପଇସା ଦେଇଛ କଣ ମାଗଣା ପଇଛି କି ପଇସା ଦେଇଛୁ ନା ୟୁ ପେଡ୍ ଫର ଦ୍ୟାଟ ପର୍ପଜ ୟୁ ଗଟ୍ ଇଟ୍
ୟେସ୍ ୟେସ୍ ୟେସ୍।
ଯିବ କୁଆଡେ ସବୁ ଅଛି ତା ଭିତରେ ଅବନି ଗରିବ ରହିଛି କାହିଁ କେତେ ବିଭବ ସବୁ ଅଛି ଖୋଜିକି ବାହାର କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ସେଇଠି କୋଇଲା ଅଛି ସେଇଠି ଯୋଉ ଲୁହା ଅଛି ସେଇଠି ମାଙ୍ଗନିଜ ଅଛି ତାକୁ ଖୋଳିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ହେଲା ରଖିବା କାଲିକି ପୁଣି ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିବା
Yes, sir.
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
ଖାଇଛନ୍ତି ହଁ ଲାଗୁଛି Good.